good evening to you. You are just in time for TV47 weekend. We've got a lot lined up for you here today. Remember, you can interact with us at TV47 Kenya across all social media platforms. But first, let's take a look at the highlights. Tonight, self-declared serial killer Marston Wanjala lynched in Bungoma County. Agnes Tirup husband arrested in Mombasa over her murder.
Another thing that happened in Kenya National Hospital, where a doctor was found that he who died because by suicide.
We shall tell you why your doctor might be unhealthy. Welcome to the broadcast. Minimbesa is our sign language interpreter. I am Muthoni Minor. Now, starting off, a self-confessed serial killer Marston Wanjala was this morning lynched by an irate mob in Mukwaya village in Bungoma County. Wanjala escaped from custody at the Jogoo Road police station on October 13th, where he was being held. Mike Kagongo reports.
After escaping from the Jogoo Road police custody in Nairobi on Wednesday this week, the 24-year-old Marston Wanjala was killed by an angry mob after he was spotted in Mukwaya village, Bungoma County, Friday morning. Eyewitnesses' accounts indicate that he tried to escape after a section of area residents who saw and positively identified him tried to call in the police.
Sasa hiyo kata aliniambia mimi nikasimama na sikuwa chapo nikaangalia nikaona nikamuita jina Marston. Akakataa sasa. Sasa vile nimuita akapenduka kwa friends. Alafu sasa mimi nikaacha chapo nikamfuata mbia akaenda kwa mzee mwenye alikufa hapa anaenda kama mwenye anakojoa lakini akojoi. Katoka mbia akakuja tu. Sasa mimi nikafuata tu mbio tu. Sasa penye anafika anaruka tu waya anakuja. Sasa akaingia hapa ndani.
Marston then ran and sought refuge in a homestead in the area, entering the house through a tiny opening. The homeowner, however, spotted him and screamed, attracting residents who were baying for his blood.
Tukakimbizana na yeye akakuja kwa nyumba ya mwalimu hapo hivi, mwalimu mwenyewe hakuwa na hii nyumba ilikuwa imetengenezwa iko na pafu na joo. Sasa alipitia kwa hiyo ventilation ya nyuma ya pafu, akaruka ndani ya nyumba na akajificha hapo hivyo ndani.
Alafu jirani akasema amepitia kwangu hapa, wewe mkue chonjo. Tukaanza kutafuta sasa. Tukaangalia kwa jikoni, tukaangalia kule kwa bafu huko. Alafu nikakumbuka hii bafu yangu madirisha ni wazi. Nikarudi ndani. Nilipofungua tu mlango hivi, alikuwa amekaa hivi. Aliponiona mimi nami nikashtuka, nikaona si ni yeye ndiye namuona kwa TV. Nikakimbia. Yeye naye alikuwa amenifuata. Nikakimbia nikapita kwa mlango kwa sababu nilipoingia nilikuwa nimeacha mlango wa nyuma wazi na nilikuwa nimefunga ya mbele. Nikakimbia nikafika hapo nikaanguka. Nikimpiga nduru jirani huko naye akapiga nduru ndio akarudi. Akaingia ndani na akajifungia.
Area residents wondered how the suspect escaped from the police custody and traveled all the way from Nairobi to his rural home in Bungoma without being cornered by police.
Huyu jamaa kutoka Nairobi afike Bungoma County alipitia kwenye gari gani? Kwa sababu wananchi nchi hii yote wanajua hiyo sura. Wangemuona kwenye gari angeshikwa. Lazima kuna kitu kilifanyika.
Milimo's relatives led by his father Robert Wanjala requested the government to help in facilitating his burial.
Nimesikia uchungu. Niko na uchungu zaidi. Wala baka sasa baridi bado iko tu katika mwili wangu. Roho inatetemeka tu hivi. Hata ilinishinda kuenda tu hata kuangalia yako tu pahali wamemuua. Baka sasa hata sikia roho yangu ikaniuma. Nikafikiria labda niende huko nikafika kwa barabara hapa roho na nikawasikia wamemchukua wameenda.
Ninajua lazima tuandae maombi kwa boma hili. Hiyo tutakuwa tunamshukuru Mungu kwa sababu Mungu pia mtu akiwa mhalifu, mtu akitesa watu, Mungu huwa huachilia neema yake itoke kwake na aondolewe miongoni mwa watu.
Bungoma Central Deputy County Commissioner Dorcas Rono urged residents to remain calm and leave the rest to the authorities.
And after also assessing the body and also cleaning the body, so the head of the homicide, seen Mr. Martin Nyokuto, has confirmed that is the Marston Wanjala.
Meanwhile, 3 police officers who are being held for allegedly aiding Wanjala to escape have been released on a cash bail of 100,000 shillings.
So in this matter, I find that there are 2 main issues that must be considered. Are there compelling reasons advanced to detain the respondents?
The trial inspector Philip Mpidhi, Corporal Kimakia Mutuma Boniface and Precious Mwente Mwinzi will also provide 1 contact person and will be required to report to the investigating officer for the next 7 days. The trial magistrate Jane Kamau said that the prosecution had not shown compelling reasons to deny the officers bail or bond. The court said the investigation should be completed within 7 days, and the matter been mentioned on 21st October.
I order that this matter be conducted in the next 7 days, and this file be caused to be closed by the 8th day from today.
For TV 47, I'm Mike Kagwongo.
Moving on, the main suspect into the gruesome murder of a 25-year-old 10-kilometer world record holder Agnes Tirup has been arrested in Changamwe. According to Changamwe OCPD David Matthew, the suspect Ibrahim Rotich was intercepted by police as he tried to flee the country. Maria Mocharo with the details.
Addressing the press Friday morning, Changamwe OCPD David Matthew noted that the suspect known as Ibrahim Rotich was arrested alongside another friend in possession of what is believed to be the late Agnes Tirup's phone.
Pia ningependa kuongezea kwamba alikuwa na gari ambayo alikuwa anatumia na pia tuliweza kumpata akiwa na rafiki yake mmoja. Zaidi ya hayo pia tuliweza kumnaza, tuliweza kupata simu zake zile alikuwa nazo, na tunashuku ya kwamba simu moja ni ya yule ambaye ni mwenda zake Agnes, na uchunguzi umeweza kuanzishwa na maafisa wetu wa polisi, na mshukiwa ataweza kufikishwa kotini hivi karibuni. Kulingana na habari ambazo tuko nazo, yeye hakuwa amekuja kupiga ripoti yoyote kwa polisi. Ni vile tu alikuwa area ambayo kuna kituo cha polisi chetu ambacho ni kama mita 1 au mita 200 kutoka mahali pale tulimpata.
Rotich's family has described him as a quiet, peaceful person despite the circumstances that prevailed. However, Agnes Tirup's brother Josephat Keter has urged the DCI to fast-track investigations since the suspect could escape police custody, derailing Agnes's justice.
We are half happy, not fully happy. It's good that he has been arrested, but we still want justice. Arrest is not justice. We wish that they be ashikwe after ameshikwa already. Tunaomba tu ujamaa afungwe kabisa na vitu zake zote za Chebet hakisha kwamba amerudisha.
On his part, Vincent Tirup, Agnes's father, says he is heartbroken with the incident that resulted to her daughter's death, holding the same sentiments as his son.
Mimi sijaona mtu ambaye anafanya maovu kama ile ambaye nimeona leo. Ile ambaye ilifanywa huyo mwanariadha huyo. So tunasikia uchungu sana sisi kama watu ya Athletics Kenya. Tunasikia uchungu kabisa. And we want to say wale ambao wanafanya uchunguzi wajaribu kumaliza haraka ndio maneno iendelee na tujue maneno itakuwa namna gani, kwa sababu sisi tuko na uchungu sana.
Agnes Tirup was murdered in her home in Iten Elgeyo Marakwet on Wednesday night. The arrest of Ibrahim Rotich, the prime suspect into the gruesome murder of Agnes Tirup, sheds light into the quest for justice as investigations begin. Maria Mocharo, TV 47, Mombasa County.
Our heartfelt condolences to the family and may justice be served on that matter. Now, police in Kakamega County are holding a grade 6 pupil for allegedly killing an ECDE pupil over a meal of ugali and kunde. Now, we are definitely preparing that report and it will air in a few. Now, on to banditry attacks as tension is high in Arabal, Baringo County after armed bandits killed 2 people in the area. Residents have appealed to the government to intervene to ensure safety.
The incident occurred when a group of men were patrolling the area to ensure safety when they were attacked by armed bandits who were hiding before shooting them dead.
Walikuwa naenda kumoni tukaangalia nyayo kama ameingia karibu na watu, wanajua watu wanaopia usalama wao. Kuna warani wanaenda kutangatanga kuangalia mahali kama amepita kuchunguza, alafu naanza kuja kuwaambia watu mwe tayari sababu wakora wako, lakini walipatana na wakora ikaua wawili vile tulielezwa na wengine wakaponyoka.
It is alleged the bandits are hiding in Galesha Hills after they were flashed out in Laikipia County. Baringo residents are living in fear following the incident and have urged the government to intervene to ensure safety.
Kwa hivyo hii wakora wako area kwa wengi, area ya Nosgro, hata leo tulisikia wengine wamelala Nosedan, bado anakujia sisi hapa. Kwa hivyo leo hata leo tuko na hope kubwa sana kusema labda atapahamia watu sehemu zingine.
Wale watu ambao wameua bado wanangojea watu hapo kwa sababu wanajua watu wanakuja kutoa mwili zao. So wanangojea ili waangamize wengine wote.
Baringo leaders have condemned the attack and appealed to the government to conduct a security operation in the area to flush out the bandits.
Ningeomba serikali wachukue jukumu la kutoa hizo mwili na kusaidia wasasi ambao wanahusika ili wapate kufanya mashishi na wakamilishe kazi hiyo kwa sababu ni nzito na ni chungu. Watu wanahangaika na waongeze hali ya usalama.
So naomba serikali kutumia county commissioner, county commandant wa police watusaidie hiyo mwili itolewe tusike.
This comes as religious leaders in Almorani area like Laikipia County urge the government to provide psychological counseling support to families that lost their relatives following the Almoran bandit attack.
We kindly request the national government and the county government to work very hard to realize that the security in this area comes back and comes back soon so that there is a confidence for the local community.
Support them with counseling so that life can come to normal. We are also making interventions directed to the households and we shall visit to allow and we shall be able to give food to about 245 households, especially those who have been affected by this conflict.
Moving on, Water Kiosk Limited has launched a project aimed at providing safe water to Kitengela residents. The water kiosk runs by the use of sun rays to operate and it saves electricity consumption. Samuel Kenyanjui, the co-founder of the company, says the machine will help communities that do not have clean water. He says they have 34 projects and have reached out to more than 14 counties. He has urged hospitals to use the project, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, stating that they will start with 23 hospitals.
Getting and making water accessible to people. The realization that there is a lot of water that is not fit for human consumption and the accessibility of that water as well is what actually was a driving factor. Between us as co-founders, we thought that we need to do something on that line. The other challenge that we had to address was the issue of power. We know that energy is a requirement for any treatment process. So we thought of how can we address and reduce this challenge of power, mitigate the challenge of power, at the same time make water more accessible to people. So we came up with this technology of solar water desalination, which runs 100% on solar. From the first process to the last process, so making it sustainable, more sustainable to the off-grid communities. And we are now implementing installations in the hospitals. And this is after the effect of the COVID pandemic, which was at peak last year. There was need to have, clean drinking water in this hospital.
By this machine,
producing 1,000 liters of water from direct ocean water. The cost of that 1,000 per meter drinking water is nothing more than 50 cents. $50 for 1,000 liters of hygiene drinking water come from ocean. So this simplicity, fully off-grid solution, and the affordability are the three reasons we call it as an innovation.
It is indeed an amazing initiative, or rather an amazing initiative there by the Water Kiosk Limited for the Kitengela residents. Now it's time to take a very fast short break. We will be right back with more. Do stay tuned.
Oh, hi guys. Sorry, you found me 5 minutes before I started recording, but anyway, so most of you have been asking me why I started Lady CLC Night with Joy Rongo. I have also had my own share of pain. I know how it feels to want to give up. This is basically here to speak hope and inspire somebody who's going through a rough patch, to tell them that they can turn their pain into power. Our guests are normally here to share their experiences so that you can know somebody else did it, so you can also come out of it stronger and better. Let me go to my recording, and remember to always stay tuned every Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
Undertaking husband duties on a boyfriend tender.
Guys, with bromance, do you share your woman with the bro? Have a sister? Give me your sister. I show you how these things are done. So you go release and be like,
Men supporting each other, not only financially, but also socially.
Don't mingle with women you can't deal with.
Is there really a formula for dating and marriage?
Some men are procreational, some men are recreational.
Every Wednesday on TV47, the Men's Conference brings you a cocktail of top-notch advice to breed alpha males for alpha females in the society.
Tunaweza tumia hii tenje tutesi hiyo do.
Mimi naitwa Ben. Mimi ndo rafiki ya babako.
Tumeleta dozi zako, usimize mtoto.
And now we have to deal with a drug addict.
Yaani ulio mzai wako. I had to.
Sema!
Ndo zangu ziko wapi?
Ben!
Tuishini Uganda.
The road to 2022 is becoming tougher and trickier with each passing day.
Na wawache kuja kutuletea makasiriko.
Political aspirants in a dilemma whether to change allegiance or not.
Nonetheless, you have justified your change of stance.
It's my bloody personal politics.
Tell them this. They could have gone to do law so that they become judges. They do not have the capacity, training, or skill to interpret a court order.
As a journalist, you have also had occasion to actually do some research. Read the judgment of
it's the nature of our job to have. The question is very specific.
Listen to me,
my question is very specific.
Every Monday at 9:30 p.m., Pundits Night brings you inclusive and candid conversations with the pundits. It just doesn't land on your plate. It takes hard work.
They require highly skilled labor.
Time.
8 months, and that means you have given it a lot of care, a lot of time.
And resources.
I remember I had invested so much in fertilizer, like I just didn't want anything to go wrong.
From a seed, seedling, to a fruit or vegetable, as well as a fertilized egg to a chicken, duck, or turkey. Here at Kilimo Diaries, Sandra Wahito takes us through it all every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Every successful business offers a solution to a problem. It could be eyewear for your visual needs, automotive for your car troubles, or even art for your creative spaces. Here at The Grind, Violet Njoki helps quiet all the business noises and make sense of it all with business advice.
The first thing is to start.
Tips.
They should be unique.
And ideas.
Put our product out there. Tunaiweka kwa social media.
Every Monday at 7:30 p.m.
Oh, hi guys. Sorry, you found me 5 minutes before I started recording, but anyway, so most of you have been asking me why I started Lady CLC 19 with Joy Rongo. I have also had my own share of pain. I know how it feels to want to give up. This is basically here to speak hope and inspire somebody who's going through a rough patch, to tell them that they can.
Of Untold Stories.
Welcome back to TV47 Weekend. Now, on 12th June, a doctor died by suicide at the Kenyatta National Hospital's parking lot. Shortly afterwards, on the 20th of September, another doctor in Nakuru County allegedly killed his 2 children, aged 3 and 5 years, before attempting to take his own life. In this special report, our health reporter Zainab Mohammed and parks on the crucial issue of the state of mental wellness among doctors amid this COVID-19 pandemic. Is your doctor healthy enough? Take a look.
And I'm Ugandan. I've forgotten that part. I'm proudly Ugandan, you know.
29-year-old Dr. Israel Tukama Shaba is a Ugandan national who came to Kenya 9 years ago in search of a greener pasture. However, the pasture was not so green on this other side. After finishing med school in 2018, Israel has been unable to secure permanent employment to date. He is among the over 2,000 doctors in Kenya who are currently unemployed.
I thought it would be like a breeze after school. After internship, because during internship you're taken care of by the government and they pay you like every month, so it comes in constantly. So you're planning for all this money, it's new to you, and sometimes when I use it well, you might use it badly. It depends on you as an individual. So I got paid by the government for about 12 months or 13 months, right? After that it was a bit tricky because I had to go get licensed in Uganda, which of course took a lot of money, and then licensed in Kenya, what they call reciprocal registration, right? That took a whole lot of money, right? I think I was even almost broke.
According to Israel, tribalism, nepotism and corruption in many county-level hospitals here in Kenya has resulted in the biased and selective employment of selected doctors and medical personnel.
When I worked in BC, there was a bit of this bias. We did an interview, I think it was last year in, last year was 2020, right? I think around November, December, right? There was a gap. And they needed doctors. So the idea was to absorb those who had done internship in the county, right? In the county referral hospital, right? So we volunteered for a while. Probably went up to like about 3 to 5 months. So we had hope that we'd be absorbed by the county. Before the interviews, guys probably had their guys. You get. And then some guys have the audacity to ask you for money. They call you from the public service board. They ask you for probably 100,000. It is wrong, yes, because once it boomerangs on you, it's really sad.
His unlucky charm in securing a permanent employment pushing him to the throes of depression.
It's really empty. There's a point where I was kind of disgusted with myself. I was like, probably I'm so lazy, or I'm too complacent. Maybe I don't want to adjust. Because there are friends who kept challenging me, like, go back to Nairobi, apply here, apply there. So I made a number of applications, but up to no good, right? So that kind of put me down, really.
Israel is currently in and out of short-term gigs, which he holds on to, hoping for a better opportunity.
Locals, at times you're paid less, right? Or you're not paid at all. At times you're paid less, probably because of probably someone there like you, or you showed up late by 10 minutes, because time management is a big deal for them. Then sometimes they might get someone else, and then you fall out of favor, right? And then you start getting a drought of jobs.
At Mpisha Hospital, 28-year-old Dr. Tendo Ongas is a medical officer. He has worked here for about 3 years. According to Tendo, tiring long shifts, death of patients, work frustrations, and even financial constraints takes a toll on most doctors' mental well-being. Unfortunately, Tendo says most doctors can't afford the services they themselves offer, including psychiatrical services.
It's easy for me to tell a patient, I don't skip meals, exercise, but I'll be working a 12-hour shift, and in that time I'll have eaten in the morning. So it's easy for us to remove ourselves from the advice we give, and that's the challenge now when it comes to mental health, because there are signs. Again, these things, they rarely just happen. There are telltale signs of what a person is going through, but the support structure is what's lacking in terms of the medical profession, because one is access. Most doctors cannot afford therapy, sad to say. It's not included in packages. It's a separate kind of package.
The COVID-19 pandemic putting an even bigger burden to already burdened doctors.
Tricky in the aspect of my family and relatives. For me, as my job, we had a head start in that we had the disease going around the world. So eventually we knew to land in Kenya at some point. So we had that kind of mental preparation for it, although nothing really prepares you for the kinds of cases you see, and the severity and the unpredictability of the disease itself. But for me personally, the struggle was family. So am I working, and then how about when I go back home? How do I interact with my siblings? What if I take the disease to them? Nephew, nieces? That was the struggle. So do I have to isolate myself in this period, and in this period you don't know when it's ending?
Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union Secretary General Dr. Davji Atela says devolution of health services has turned out to be one of the biggest nightmares to the medical profession.
The devolution of healthcare left doctors in a very crisis situation, rather in a very difficult situation, in the sense that when you look at, for example, I told you just before that when there are delays of salary for 3 months, 4 months, the people who are highly hit with this matter are the doctors and the healthcare workers. Why? Because they're directly under the county governments. So then they do not get all the salaries, but then they're expected to be consistently at work. So that makes them to be forgotten, or makes people expect that they are at a point where they do not need salaries. So that's one thing. Number two is that we look at the way the county is run and the managements in the county systems. When you are working in a stressful environment, you need to have more of buffers so that you do not really come to have the stress within you. But the way the counties have put in place, they have put more administrative roles in a way that they don't look at the human side of the healthcare workers. Yes. And their welfare.
He says the extreme cases of depressive episodes among doctors is only a telltale sign of the struggles lying underneath.
The doctor was working in a private facility. I mean, the doctor was known to me one-to-one, and in fact, he delivered my third born. So he's somebody I know, and I know the character. He was very calm and a good person, and a person of great personality. But then, we say the pandemic is not only for the others in the society, it's also for the doctors. He has a private hospital that he's trying to run, and things are not adding up to him just like any other person. So then he needed an environment to debrief, to discuss the matters, to the mental care, just like any person in the society. Another thing that happened in Kenya National Hospital, where a doctor was found that he who died because by suicide at the parking lot. One thing that we learned that there was frustration from the university, there was frustrations from the work environment that he was in at the hospital. This doctor was working, slaving day and night, and at the same time looking for fee from private hospitals. So there was no even time for, he was even deprived sleep and everything. So the environment was creating more of the pressure for them to commit suicide.
Psychiatry services.
Consultant psychiatrist Dr. Judy Kamau says in her everyday work, she attends to more than her fair share of colleagues from the medical industry.
I can say I've treated colleagues with a broad spectrum of various disorders. I have looked after depressed colleagues. I have looked after colleagues who've had psychotic breaks. I've looked after colleagues who've had alcohol use problems. I've looked after very anxious colleagues. During the COVID pandemic, a lot of anxiety came up, so I've looked after colleagues who've been anxious or distressed due to COVID itself. Yeah, either they are in recovery themselves or their family member has had COVID. So I've looked after colleagues who've had various types of mental health problems.
Sadly, Judy says majority of doctors are not open to seek help. Many self-diagnose or try to find ways to cope with mental conditions.
They might be more resistant to presenting because sometimes they say ganga fayata kujiganga, or they first will try and really think, do I really have that problem? Maybe I don't have that problem. So before they get there, sometimes it might take slightly longer, because they'll have tried to explore various avenues, diagnose, differentially diagnose, rule out, agree with themselves, and finally come. So that would be the difference, that they may, by the time they are coming in, it will take a lot of hesitancy.
And even though some employers are already providing medical cover that includes the treatment of mental conditions, many are still lacking in this area.
If you don't have particular specialists on board, then we would be able to create linkages or try and find out where can my employee go and get help. Yeah. So yes, it would be easier if you have the psych services on site, but linkages are there. You can have a linkage with Chiromo Hospital Group, or linkages to MP Shah Hospital, or linkages to various places, Amani Counseling Center, as a facility. Yeah, so those are things that various employers can also make. Yeah, and that's not just even to doctors only, even to various cadres of staff.
KMPDU has now incorporated in its administration an ad hoc committee that deals with mental well-being and welfare of their members. But this, the union says, is not enough to win this war, as mental health issues are now not only higher among doctors and medical personnel, but all Kenyans alike.
I believe as a union we have an ad hoc committee that offers the counseling to our doctors and safe space where they can talk and relate to the issues pertaining to their welfare. Because these things, as I told you, they range from the social issues, they range from work issues, they range from the personal issues. So we have that space. But at the same time, we are trying to look at, like today, there's a mental health bill in the parliament. There's need the mental health need to be one of the things that is recognized strongly within the Ministry of Health, and a plan to ensure that everybody, all the healthcare workers, have at least a time to be debriefed, people having off, people having leave. So the welfare is really looked holistically, not just like machines who need to be at work, who are not expected to have emotions when they lose patients, who are not expected to really complain or agitate when there are no equipment or there are no drugs for the healthcare for the patients. But then it needs to be treated holistically. You need to be handled just like a fellow human beings when issues arise within the hospital setups.
According to the Kenya Mental Health Task Force, a staggering 1 out of 4 persons who seek healthcare services in Kenya have a mental health condition. Experts now arguing that it just may be a high time for the government to declare mental illness a national disaster. Zainab Mohammed, T47.
Oh, hi guys. Sorry, you found me 5 minutes before I started recording, but anyway, so most of you have been asking me why I started Lady CLC 19 with Joy Rongo. I have also had my own share of pain. I know how it feels to want to give up. This is basically here to speak hope and inspire somebody who's going through a rough patch, to tell them that they can turn their pain into power. Our guests are normally here to share their experiences so that you can know somebody else did it, so you can also come out of it stronger and better. Let me go to my recording, and remember to always stay tuned every Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
Undertaking husband duties on a boyfriend tender.
Guys, with bromance, do you share your woman with the bro? Have a sister? Give me your sister. I show you how these things are done. So you go release and be like,
Men supporting each other, not only financially, but also socially.
Don't mingle with women you can't deal with.
Is there really a formula for dating and marriage?
Some men are procreational, some men are recreational.
Every Wednesday on TV47, the Men's Conference brings you a cocktail of top-notch advice to breed alpha males for alpha females in the society.
Tunaweza tumeite nje tutesi hiyo do. Mimi naitwa Ben. Mimi ndo rafiki ya babako.
Tumeleta dozi zako usimize mtoto.
And now we have to deal with a drug addict.
Yaani ulio mzai wako. I had to.
Sema! Dozi zangu ziko wapi?
Ben! Tuisheni Uganda.
The road to 2022 is becoming tougher and trickier with each passing day.
Na wawache kuja kutuletea makasiriko.
Political aspirants in a dilemma whether to change allegiance or not.
Nonetheless, you have justified your change of stance.
It's my bloody personal politics.
Tell them this. They could have gone to do law so that they become judges. They do not have the capacity.
Welcome back to TV47 Weekend. Now let's delve into political matters, as ODM leader Raila Odinga today made a grand entry into the Deputy President William Ruto's Rift Valley backyard to a rousing welcome by residents. Inside Raila's bag of goodies was a creation of jobs for the youth, taming corruption, enhancing security, among other projects. Charlie Kerecha reports.
ODM leader Raila Odinga on Friday made a grand entry into the Deputy President William Ruto's Rift Valley backyard to a rousing welcome by residents. The ODM leader was welcomed in Eldoret to Uasin Gishu County by a huge crowd where he promised them a basket full of goodies.
Sababu nilitangaza juzi ati kuanzia mwaka ujao jamii wote ambaye hawana mapato watakuwa kila mwezi wanapata shilingi 6,000.
Yale yote amesema akipata hii kiti atatekeleza.
Hiyo ni ahadi. Tutaziba mianya pale ambapo wanaibia pesa. Tutamaliza ufisadi katika taifa letu. Wizi na hujuma ya mali ya umma tutamaliza. Hiyo ndio agizo ya Kenya mpya.
Odinga criticized the Jubilee government for failing to deliver its promises of laptops for class 1 pupils and better returns for farmers.
Mimi naambia tunataka kubadilisha hali ya maisha katika taifa letu. Tunataka kila mtoto ambaye anazaliwa katika taifa letu awe na fursa kuanzia nursery, primary, secondary, university na fursa ya kupata elimu sawasawa.
Mimi katika sehemu hiyo ingine niliambiwa siasa yangu iishie Iten. Nisijaribu hata ku cross boundary kuja Uasin Gishu. Nilipimiwa hewa mpaka hapo. Lakini leo nikisimama hapa, mimi nafanya siasa ya North Rift, nafanya siasa ya Rift Valley, na pia tutafanyia baba siasa ya Kenya mzima.
Raila further promised to end the runway of insecurity in the region.
Ufisadi katika taifa letu. Wizi na hujuma ya mali ya umma tutamaliza. Hiyo ndio agizo ya Kenya mpya. Vijana mko tayari? Mko tayari?
2022 tutasimama na baba ile awe rais wa 5 wa jamhuri hii yetu ya Kenya. Jameni.
The former Prime Minister asked voters to shun the politics of handouts, saying they were avenues of launder proceeds of corruption.
100 million shillings in Harambee. But then the first salary is 3 million shillings, which I was earning as a Prime Minister. I know it. So where is these resources? Which companies do you own? Even Safaricom cannot afford that kind of luxury.
Walichukua wheelbarrow na wakapanda nayo mlima, ati wameketi kule kwa mlima. Kumbe ninyi ilikuwa maneno yote hiyo tulikuwa tunaambiwa, kumbe maneno ilikuwa ya uongo.
Vijana wote ambao wanakubaliana na mimi, wao wanajeshi wa baba. Mko tayari? Nasema wanajeshi wa baba mpaka uwe na bunduki na risasi. Sawa? Bunduki ni kitambulisho, risasi ni kura. Sawa? Ili nikisema about turn, forward march, fire.
Reporting for TV47 from Uasin Gishu County, I'm Charles Kerecha.
Now, Deputy President William Ruto pitched tent at the coast region for the second day, where he continued to drum up support for the bottom-up economic model. Patronila Goren reports.
Deputy President William Ruto for the second day pitched camp at the coast region, where he continued to drum up support for his bottom-up approach narrative. Today, the DP continued to champion for his economic blueprint in Kwale and Kilifi counties.
Ili tuanze hapa chini, wale watoto wetu vijana mamilioni wasiokuwa na kazi, wako na certificate, wako na diploma, wengine wako na degree, hawana ajira. Tutaanza na hawa watoto wetu wa taifa la Kenya kwanza, tuwatafutie ajira. Ninyi viongozi mngojee. Na tunasema hivi, kabla hamjabadilisha katiba eti tugawane mamlaka, wacha kwanza tufanye empowerment ya hawa kina mama.
However, Ruto has condemned his opponents for what he termed as lack of proper ideologies for the youth.
Na hawawezi kuuziwa kitendawili tena, na TV mnakiala haina maana tena. Hawa watu wanataka maisha yao yaweze kwenda mbele. Ama ni aje wako pale? Tumekubaliana.
He added that he had played a big role in President Uhuru Kenyatta's victory as well as enhancing the popularity of ODM leader Raila Odinga.
Unajua mimi hapa nilisukuma bwana Raila Odinga 2007 mpaka akakuwa prime minister. Nilimsaidia. Sijuzi nimesaidia rafiki yangu Uhuru Kenyatta mpaka amekuwa rais. Leo nimesema nitasaidia mama mboga. Na nitasaidia huyu mwenye hana kazi. Apate kazi. Ninauliza pale kuna makosa. Niliwasaidia wale wadosi. Nikisema nisaidie huyu mnyonge kuna makosa. Lakini watu waje kuniita majina wale. Siku ile nilikuwa nawasaidia walikuwa wanasema Ruto ni mtu mzuri sana. Siku ile nilisaidia Raila Odinga alikuwa anasema Ruto ni mtu mzuri sana. Siku hiyo ingine nimesaidia rafiki yangu Uhuru Kenyatta wakasema mimi ni mtu mzuri sana. Leo nimesema nataka kusaidia huyu mnyonge wanasema Ruto ni mbora. Sijui Ruto ni mwizi. Mimi nataka niwaambie wacheni utapeli my friends.
Ruto began a 5-day tour of the Coast region yesterday and is expected to end on Monday in Mombasa County. Patronila Goren for TV47 in Kwale County.
Moving on, the government now says it will challenge the nullification of Huduma number rollout by the High Court. Attorney General Kihara Kariuki has already filed a notice of appeal against the judgment. These as Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiangi faulted the court's decision to declare the Huduma number unconstitutional. Joash Onsare reports.
After the High Court declared Huduma number process illegal, the Attorney General Kihara Kariuki has filed an appeal notice to challenge Huduma number at the High Court on Thursday. Kihara says the government is not convinced with Justice Nga's ruling that termed the process unconstitutional. Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiangi, while in Meru County, said the government will appeal the decision.
We are going to appeal the decision of the court yesterday on the Huduma card and Huduma number. Because it's unthinkable how we are going to move to the future without integrating our data sets. And then we are going to ask our colleagues across other branches of government who don't understand this. We are available to help them understand what we are trying to do.
According to Matiangi, the Huduma number project was aimed at ensuring government service delivery is centralized.
We have data on your PIN at KRA. We have data on your driver's licenses at the NTSA. What we are doing is bringing all that data together so that you are one person. So that you use one card and one number to access services. What is illegal about that? I don't know where some people live. Just go to some countries in the Middle East, the president of Estonia was here the other day. And it's amazing what she told us and what they're able to achieve in terms of technology. We cannot be the only country where you need a handbag to carry your cards.
Further, Matiangi condemned judicial officers and some leaders for crippling the government projects and services.
People who are opposed to this are the cartels who have made a living out of stealing public funds by coming up with all manner of conflicting systems. Because we believe at some point in the chain of seeking to explain ourselves, someone will be reasonable enough and listen to us and see that what we are doing is good for our country and good for the way we are going to go forward.
On Thursday, High Court Judge Jairus Nga ruled that the process was unconstitutional, saying it did not follow the proper channels as outlined in the Constitution. Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Ansari, for that report. Now, as the world marks the White Cane Safety Day for the visually impaired, Kilimanjaro Blind Trust Africa has partnered with the Mount Kenya University to roll out the Orbit Reader 20 to the visually impaired students, which is technologically advanced, enabling them to better their potential with enhanced mobility. Raising their white canes high, symbolizing their bravery as the world marked the White Cane Safety Day, visually impaired students at the Mount Kenya University have a reason to smile as they received a donation of several Orbit Reader 20 devices from the new striked partnership deal between MKU and the Kilimanjaro Blind Trust Africa, KBTA. Heading to the member of the board of directors, Dr. Jen Nyotu, the access to this assistive device for the visually impaired will help ease the barriers of development, as it will give a better solution for them to realize their full potential.
The merger is has great meaning. It is bringing the university, Mount Kenya University, the campuses, the students and faculty, together with the Kilimanjaro Trust Fund to enable our students who are actually blind to learn like any other student. The Orbit Reader is a friendly technology designed for the virtually blind students. They will be able to feel like they are part of the bigger population of the students.
According to the CEO of KBTA, Suparna Biswas, the Orbit Reader 20 will act as a catalyst through ensuring integration and access to better opportunities on equal basis, as the device is pocket-friendly and can also be used by any age gap.
So to date, given that we had to stop for COVID-19 for almost a year, we have been able to distribute 1,400 Orbit Readers. It means that there's still some ways to go, but the fact is that we have reached a critical mass where we can see how the Orbit Reader is being used by very young children in school, by high school learners, and now we have started with universities and other tertiary institutions. There is no doubt that the Orbit Reader, which is a digital, multifunctional braille assistive device for the visually impaired, changes completely the paradigm of how education is accessed by those with visual impairment.
Moving on, MasterCard Foundation, in partnership with Green Card Mtaani, has launched a COVID-19 awareness campaign to sensitize Kibra residents on the need to continue observing the measures put in place by the Ministry of Health to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Lavin Atieno reports.
Speaking during a meeting with relevant stakeholders from the Kibra community, founder of the Green Card Mtaani Foundation, Frederick Juma, pointed out that the campaign, which is set to run for 2 months, is projected to help approximately 500,000 residents. The partnership will offer residents new hand-washing points, hand-washing soaps, water tanks, and a cleaner community.
We are partnering with MasterCard Foundation just basically to create awareness in Kibera slums in terms of creating COVID awareness creation. So the target here we have in Kibera is both women and the youth. That is the target we have, and also the children in schools. We have a direct impact, which is 250,000, where we are going to reach them directly. Then we have another 500,000 indirectly. So basically we will be concentrating on hygiene and water hygiene and sanitation programs, whereby we will be offering hand wash points in schools within Kibera. We will also be planting hand wash stations within every ward, 2 per ward in Kibera, and some parts of Langata that actually serves the same Kibera. We will also be doing wash training to the schools. COVID is still there with us, and we don't have enough water stations, we don't have enough boreholes within Kibera, so we are just trying to create awareness.
Residents were elated with the program, saying that the campaign will be of great help to the Kibra community.
Through this awareness, community ita benefit a lot, kama sanitation, mambo na hand washing facilities, hata zikiwekwa kwa mashule zitasaidia watoto na community at large.
It will bring a great impact to our community in terms of creating awareness to the community at large and the people living in the informal settlements. They are there wanahakikisha that everything in terms of washing hands, kuvaa barakoa and kila kitu still inatimizwa. Some other schools are very vulnerable kabisa. They cannot even afford that a drum of kubeba maji ili watoto wakuje waoshe mikono. But tunapata through this partnership, such as schools will now have to benefit.
All in all, the residents want the foundation to set up a hand-washing point near the Kibra Primary School and clean up the area for them to live in a healthier environment.
Tunataka malipa hand washing kwa mashule, kwa kuna shule zingine ziko vulnerable, hawezi afford kununua hizo sanitizers na hand washing facilities haziko. Amini watusaidie kupanguza hii mtaa yetu, tutashukuru sana. Tutakuwa tunaishi kwa afya mzuri na hewa mzuri.
Lavin Atieno, TV 47.
Thank you, Levin, for that report. Now it's time to shift the focus to sports with the Dapperman himself, Dennis Otieno, our sports desk news anchor. I believe he's got a lot